Well, good morning, everybody. Lesson 9 for Course in Miracles. I forgot to hit record button, so I'm going to do it this way just so we've got that. And so we're going to do a little bit of a review of the 8 lessons up to this point, and then we're going to take a look at Lesson 9 in A Course in Miracles. Now, just as a reminder, there's 365 of these lessons. We're going to do these 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time, in the Zoom format. And anyone's welcome to join us. If you miss a lesson, this is why we're recording them, and we're putting them over at kwpivot2020.com. So kwpivot2020.com, there's a page there that we're putting these in, so you can always catch up. You can always go out online. Actually, there's a lot of these that you can find like on YouTube as well. It's kind of a cool study though, and they do layer on each other. So it'd be great if you could, if you have an interest, that you could just follow along with us that way. So far, number 1 was this one. It said, "Nothing I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place means anything. So what we began doing was practicing these lessons 3 to 4 times a day, just taking a few minutes out of the day to stop and bring focus to that lesson or that activity, if you will. And that was our first one. Number 2 was this one. "I have given everything I see on the street, from this window, in this place, all of the meaning that it has to me." All of the meaning that it has to me. And so that was our second day. Third day, we did this one. "I do not understand anything I see in this room, on the street, from this window, in this place." Now, here's the key to all of these. It's when I look around, it's like what my eye lights on, like stops and looks at, is what I do this exercise with. And the key is that I'm not excluding things. I'm not using a filter of any sort to say, "Oh, that's not important." It's whatever like draws my eye is what I say that lesson around, and then I'm just with it for a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, and just be okay with that. So that's really how these really work for us. So let's take a look at number 4. This was last Thursday. "These thoughts do not mean anything. They are like the things I see on the street, from this window, in this place." So then we switched it to the thoughts I had, not just from the other ones, which was what I was seeing. So it was my visuals in the first 3. Now it's my thoughts. Don't mean anything. Number 5 was this one. "I'm never upset for the reason that I think." Now that ties back into our thoughts as well, doesn't it? And so just a couple of little scripts there on the screen for you. I'm not angry at blank for the reason I think. The way this lesson works wonderfully is when you get really specific about whatever that feeling of upset is. So if it's anger, if it's fear, if it's like angst, I mean, whatever that is, label it, and then really get clarity about what the cause of that was. So I'm not angry at my husband for the reason that I think. I'm not angry at the president for the reason that that's an extreme, and yet I just gave that to you as an example. So that's really how this one works. And again, 3 to 4 times a day, just stop and be mindful of what that feeling is. So the last one is I'm upset because I see something that is not there. I am upset because I see something that is not there. So that's an interesting one, and that is again kind of going back to our feelings or emotions and that idea behind it. So that's where that one shows up. That was number 6 for us. That was the beginning of week 2. And now as we move through the week, then we went to lesson number 7, which says, "I see only the past." So now we're starting to move again away from you see there's a pattern of 3s so far, right? The first 3 was about visual, what I was seeing, and then meanings I was tying to it or not. Second 3 were around thoughts or emotions, feelings that we have, and now this is about past. It's really kind of thinking about where we're going from an intellectual perspective. That was I see only the past. The lesson number 8 was this one. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. What we talked about in that lesson just yesterday was that only from your past can you have thoughts, because that's where your context is, right? So it's always from the past. So any thought you have comes from past if you put any sort of filter on it, because that's the experiences that led up to what it is you say this is. And then today's lesson, number 9, is this one, and it's that I see nothing as it is now. as it is now, as it is now. I see nothing as it is now. And so I'm just going to share from the lessons of in A Course of Miracles what that can be as explained. And it says this idea obviously follows from the two preceding ones, right? And the numbers 7 and 8 were just as a review, were these two, right? I see only the past, and my mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. So this ties into that. I see nothing as it is now. But while you may be able to accept it intellectually, this idea that I see nothing as it is now, it is unlikely that it will mean anything to you as yet. However, understanding this, I see nothing as it is now, understanding this is not necessary at this point. That's kind of a key distinction. Understanding this is not necessary at this point. So just be with it. That's the idea behind that. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. Let me say that again. In fact, the recognition that you do not understand is a prerequisite for undoing your false ideas. These exercises are concerned with practice, not with understanding. Another key distinction. This is about practice, not necessarily understanding. Now, this is going to be uneasy for a lot of us because we're so used to getting it. Like, I have to understand this. Be okay with not understanding it. Just practice it. Just practice it. You do not need to practice what you already understand. Say that again. You do not need to practice what you already understand. It would indeed be circular to aim at understanding and then assume that you have it already. It would be a circular path. So that's a heavy one. In fact, I spent a long time just on that line yesterday as I was preparing for today. See, it's difficult for the untrained mind to believe that what it seems to picture is not there. I know. Let me say it again. It is difficult for the untrained mind to believe that what it seems to picture is not there. This idea can be quite disturbing and may meet with active resistance in any number of forms. The other one, got to pay attention to this day as you practice it. See where the resistance shows up and how it shows up for you, because it could be different in all of us. And it will be, typically it will be. Let's see, I just lost my spot. Yeah, yet that does not preclude applying it. So no matter what the resistance is, still apply. That's the idea behind this. No more than that is required for these or any other exercises. Just simply putting them into practice. That's all that's required. Each small step will clear a little of the darkness away, and understanding will finally come to lighten every corner of the mind that has been cleared of the debris that darkens it. And that's what these exercises are intended to do, is clear away that stuff that's darkening your mind. So finally, it says these exercises, for which 3 or 4 practice periods are sufficient, 3 to 4 times of practice, involve looking about you. So eyes open, seeing. Now, yesterday's lesson I had asked you to have your eyes closed. It's the first time we've done it. Everything else is about eyes open. Looking about you and applying the idea for the day to whatever you see. Remembering the need for it is indiscriminate. The need is for its indiscriminate application, meaning don't filter. Whatever your eye lights on and you see, that's what you do the exercise with. Do not filter, do not bring judgment to it. And that's essential for this happening, this course working. Let me give a couple examples of what that might look like. On here, I just did it right here as I was prepping. The first one is I do not see that monitor as it is now. So this is my computer monitor right in front of me. I don't see it as it is now. I looked at that and I just spent a few seconds, actually probably 20 or 30, just being there with that. And then I started working my way around. I don't see the microphone as it is now. It's right above my head almost all day long as I'm doing these. And I'm just with it. And my next one is I don't see this face as it is now. My face is on my monitor over here. That was the next place I looked, and that's what caught my eye, and it's not as it is now. And just spent a minute or so with that. And so the goal here is to work outward from where you're at when you start to practice in those 3 to 4 sessions each time you do that. So begin with things that are nearest to you and then extend the range outward. It is emphasized again that while complete inclusion should not be attempted, meaning everything, one piece out, there's a post-it note, there's a placard, there's a book, there's a clock. It's not that. It's not about everything. But it's also about not excluding anything. And that's essential to not avoiding that exclusion. You got to avoid it. Please don't exclude, don't judge. Just be with it. And then finally it says, be sure that you're honest with yourself in making that distinction about what you chose to do this exercise with. I chose that monitor. I chose this microphone. I chose to say that about my face on the screen from this recording. You may be tempted to obscure it. So that's a temptation, is to just start filtering stuff. Just be with it. Whatever your eye light's on, do the exercise with. That's our lesson 9. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for sticking through this. We're going to do this. It's going to take us a little over a year. It's kind of a cool thing, though, because I love where we start at our thinking each day for those of you who are doing this journey with me. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow morning.